Hey, Sean, how you feeling?
Pretty good, Adam. How are you?
I won't even ask what time you guys got back.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's 6:30, 7 o'clock, something like that.
I wanted to ask, obviously, about Josh. And, we've seen, obviously, more than flashes of this from him, that kind of game. But at least from where I sit, I know some others feel this way too, there was like that intangible, that confidence, that command of the offense, like consistently through the course of the game. Maybe that's the most consistent I think I've seen it anyway. What's your read on that, and what is that to say about where he is in his development right now?
Yeah, I would say that I would agree just from his command, his control. I thought he spread the ball around when there was opportunities to spread the ball around. Um, he let the game come to him, probably the best way I could say it, and I think that's what the really good ones do. Um, and so I just think he's headed in the right direction, and whenever you can take care of the ball and play clean football, you're doing something right there at that position. He did that last night.
And my only follow-up to that, Sean, is you use the word continuity a lot since you've been here. And the fact that he's had kind of the foundation of having had the same offensive coordinator, I thought that game plan was just brilliantly called and brilliantly executed last night. But to have that kind of, into 3 years together now, how much of a foundation for success in your mind is that?
Yeah, it's huge. Continuity is big in our business, and especially when you get the right people, and you can go through things together over the course of the journey, and in this case, Josh's journey. And you got guys like what Ken's been able to do with Josh, and what Brian's been able to do with Josh, and then it's one thing to have the right plan. It's another thing to call the right plays at the right time for the quarterback and the offense. And those are two separate things, but two traits that you have to have.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
Hey, Coach, as you guys turn the page to the Steelers matchup this weekend on Sunday night, I know you and Mike Tomlin played together at William Mary in college, and last year there were a bunch of William and Mary alum at the game. But as you're focusing on this next matchup, what are some of the things that Mike Tomlin has carried over from his playing days into his coaching days now as the Steelers head coach?
Yeah, I think, Maddie, what you see with the Steelers is you see Mike's personality on the team. He's got a very dynamic personality. He's well spoken and class all the way through. And I think that you see that with their football team. They play at a high level. They play well week to week, and they're led by one of the greatest coaches I think that's been around our game in Mike. And he's a Super Bowl winning coach at that. So. His resume speaks for itself.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Coach, good afternoon. Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports 1080. How you doing?
Good, Mookie. How are you?
I'm good. Tremaine's 4th and goal smack. How much did that get your juices flowing, and how did that set the tone for the remainder of the game?
Yeah, that was great to see. I thought our defense overall, Mookie, to your point, was very resilient inside the 5-yard line. It showed a lot of heart. That's what Buffalo defenses do, and I thought that stop was huge early in the game, just from a momentum swing. Albeit it changed quickly after the next play there, but even when it did, I think our defense, it took them 3 downs to get in again, and so I thought it was a great leadership play by Tremaine Edmunds.
It seems like the team is getting better each week, especially during the meat and potato part of your season, Coach, which can be scary good. Could you script this any better? With everything that's going on this season?
Well, there's certainly more work we've got to put in, and more meat on the bone for us here. I think the coaches, I'll just give a shout out to the coaches. I think they've done a great job of developing the players that we have on our roster. And that's not, you can't say that at every place, and you can't say that every season. And the players, to their credit, have really embraced the growth mindset, and some of those conversations are hard. Those are truth-oriented conversations, but they're necessary. So we get to close the gap when there is a gap.
Absolutely, Coach. And I know you had 9 on your mind last week. In order to get 10, you got to do it again. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Hey, I know in the past you've told us that, coaches and you guys sometimes break the schedule down into like different sections, whether it be quarters, halves, whatever it is. So now you're getting ready for your final 4-game stretch. I guess, what do you want to see from your team during this final stretch? Not that maybe you haven't seen up to this point, that you just maybe want to have an emphasis on, closing things out.
Yeah, I just think the ownership is big. And we've already begun with that mindset and the leaders of our football team putting their signature on our team and putting their signature on our season. I think that's what you have to do at this point in the year. And sometimes that means me leading from the front, but it also sometimes means me leading from the back. And I thought the team did a phenomenal job of that last night, all the while remaining disciplined in their approach. And I think you got to be able to do both, to take great ownership and yet have enough accountability and discipline to go along with that ownership is key for us moving forward.
As a coaching staff, how difficult, or I guess different, is it for you with all of these unique timed games down the stretch with, a Monday night to a Sunday night to a Saturday, and just kind of all the movement, especially when, for the most part, you're used to the Sunday 1 o'clock, just the grind. I guess, how different is it in preparation?
Yeah, I kind of like it, and I think our team honestly does too. It's which is pretty cool. Comfortable being uncomfortable. This is what happens when you're going down the stretch every year, and when you're a good football team and you're playing other good football teams, you're going to get your games moved around and so on and so forth. And so, when you're good and you're playing these games down the stretch, I think it's to be expected.
Thank you, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, you mentioned earlier the things that Ken Dorsey has done with Josh. He's behind the scenes. We talked to you. We talked to Brian a lot. What are some of those things that Ken Dorsey, from your perspective, that has had an impact on Josh Allen?
Well, I've had a chance to watch Ken over the years, and he's done a great job. He's always prepared. He makes sure that his players are always prepared. I used to walk by his meetings in Carolina, and it hasn't changed much now, just in terms of if he has 20 minutes to teach, he's going to take the full 20, and he's going to be well prepared for that meeting to make sure his players go out there and that they're well prepared. So that's really where it starts. It starts in the classroom. It starts, you guys hear me talk a lot about the process. You got to earn the right to win in this league, and Ken equips his players with the right tools during the week to go out there and play at a high level.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, John Worrell, AP, congrats on the win.
Thanks, John.
Any chance Renegade's going to be on your playlist this week?
Good try.
But seriously, I did try.
Are you wearing a robe for this interview?
It's really cold in our house. We keep it really cold, so I need to layer up here. We've got an old Victorian, and that's
I love it.
Staying warm is important because my wife handles the temperature gauge, and that's it. So enough of that.
You're looking mighty Sherlock Holmes-ish right now on this.
I need a pipe. You've talked about building through experiences and how this process of building this team has developed. How much do you think this team is better prepared having played on large stages? I mean, played on night games, played on Thanksgiving, played in the playoffs, and then last season at Pittsburgh to win that game. How much do you think all those experiences have prepared this team for what happened last night, for what could come on Sunday and beyond?
Yeah, I think that's important. There's no substitute for experience in a lot of areas of life, and this being one of them. And in particular, when you have it at the quarterback position, it won't be Josh's first time, as you mentioned last night, or the playoff last year. So that was Josh's first playoff last year. So, but all those go underneath your belt as a team and as an individual performer from a performer standpoint, and you learn from it, and so it makes you better moving forward.
And how much did you see that poise in Josh in the pocket, and given what he did and how efficient he was, do you think that was part of it too last night?
Yeah, I believe it was part of it. I don't know that it was everything that made it up, John, but it was definitely part of it. I just think, when you're the game slows down, the more experience you have, and the games that come down the stretch, the playoff games, the primetime games, the more you get those under your belt, the more, again, those games slow down as well.
Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, it's John Scott. You'd mentioned the play that Zach fumbled earlier here in the conversation. We didn't see him then until the fourth quarter. I was curious what was behind that decision making and what your conversation was with him following, obviously, a tough moment like that.
Yeah, I mean, the reason you didn't see him is because we can't put the ball on the turf like that and expect to win games. So it's Zach had to learn a hard lesson, and my conversation with Zach was really just more importantly, is he able to reset? Was he able to reset during the game? And we brought him back in. I think that speaks to our trust in him and our belief in him, number one, and then his ability to reset, as I mentioned, and go back out there and make the adjustment he needed to make for our football team. And I think it's as straightforward and as clear as that.
And then Matt making his return in a limited capacity. How did you feel from what you saw from him, especially in regards to his ability to take steps forward and play with that, wherever he is with that injury?
Yeah, I mean, I just, again, I think it's great potential for a young player to be able to go out there and do that with the adversity he faced early in the game. And then, obviously there were ramifications for that or consequences for that. And then to go back out there and balance the injury piece of it as well to me, it bodes well for his future because he's mentally tough and show that he can handle both of those things and make the adjustment.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Hi, Sean. If I could ask you about Matt Milano's return last night, again, it was a pitch count. It looked like, well, it was. Do you anticipate that just might be the way it's got to be with him, with that injury and the way that AJ has played recently?
So we'll see. Again, it's early on in the new week here, so we'll see. I was encouraged by what I saw from both AJ and Matt last night, as the two players that you mentioned. Good for Matt specifically to get back out there and get his feet wet again and to play some extended plays as well in a 2-minute drive. And I thought he did some really good things and should give him confidence moving forward.
And then if I could ask you about the offensive line, I think that was the 7th different starting combination last night. Might that be the one that we move forward with here? It looked like they played well. I mean, there was no doubt. And John went out, Brian came in, but the starting 5 played well last night.
They did, and I like our entire team, I think there's still meat on the bone there, and that's the encouraging piece of it, Sal, is that I think those guys even know that there's more there for them as a unit. So really happy with the guys that came in when certain guys went down as well. They were prepared and did some good things for us as well. Brian Winters being one of them, and so we move forward and we'll see what the game plan looks like this week.
And I'm going to just follow up real quick. Right? Meat on the bone. I'm going to guess you're talking about run game because I think pass pro has been pretty good. The run game, again, that there seems to be point of attack issues. There were some plays that were blown up. Is that where it's got to get better?
One area, but I just think overall we have to continue to improve as a team, specifically up front. There's some things. We give up the hit on the quarterback late in the game. I think it was fourth quarter, and there's some other things that we want to do better, and each of those guys would tell you that, which is the real cool part about our football team, that they take ownership and they know that we can do a better job there too.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, Thad Brown. On the flip side, injury-wise, with John Feliciano, anything lingering coming out of that yesterday with the knee issue with him, and anything else injury-wise from the game yesterday?
Yeah, just still, going through the evaluation with John, but feel pretty good about the initial returns on it at this point, Thad, and overall, we'll see where the week goes. Got a couple other injuries that we're still evaluating as well, and I'll know more as the days move forward here for you.
You got the players of those 2 injuries you're talking about?
Say that again.
Who are the 2? You said there are other injuries. Who
Yeah,
are those players?
I'd rather not get into it right now. I got to get a better feel right now. Quan went down, as you saw, so I got to get a better feel on Quan as we move forward here. But I think overall, the other guys should be pretty good. So I just need to get some more information on Quan at this point.
And then I wanted to ask, did you request the background decoration over your right shoulder there? I just know that in my household, writing on the wall usually gets somebody in trouble. So
yeah, that's from my kids. That was pre-quarantine when they come in here, like to hang out, and draw on Dad's board once in a while. So I love that. I love that part. That's the cool part about our building, man, is we have kids come in normal days and times, and I love hearing those kids run through the hallways. And I think that's what it was for me growing up around football and being around. Kids always like going to mom and dad's work too, right? That's always fun.
I know how you feel there, Sean. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Sure.